Greetings, citizens, and thanks for tuning in to Nindie Nation. I'm Jeff, and today on episode 126, we're taking a look at every indie game hitting the Nintendo Switch through the week ending November 28th. You can find us on Twitter, chat with us on Discord, or check out some of the week's releases with us right here on YouTube every Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern during Nindies at Night. Thanks for the warm welcome back last week, citizens. Your feedback made my week. Hopefully this week I can return the favor because we've got some solid deals to cover and a surprisingly good list of new releases. Before we get to that though, we need to take a look at the titles that shadow dropped since last week. So to kick off episode 126 of Nindie Nation, let's get started with the 6 Neglected Nindies that released since episode 125. First up is a retro synthwave shooter from Red Deer Games and Hammer Ravens. That's an interesting name. Razor Wire Nano Wars released for $5.99 and keeps the player stationary on the side of the screen as you stretch out a laser and shoot missiles at enemies coming from the other side. Neat. And another shooter, this one by Nuck Games and Cubite Interactive, is, you know what? You ever been in one of those amusement park rides where you sit in a car and it moves slowly through an environment and you shoot things with little light guns? Shapeshooter is like that, but top down, and things can kill you. Because I don't think Disney World would include spinning saw blades in the Toy Story ride.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
It's $3.99 and I'm definitely interested in checking this one out. And, Forever Entertainment apparently released a game by Artifex Mundi, or at least that's what it looks like, as Wax Museum is a point-and-click adventure for $4.99 that, I don't know. I had a traumatic experience when I was like 7 years old where a summer camp counselor had to carry me out of a Ripley's Believe It or Not because I guess I lost my collective or something, so we're gonna move on to the next one, PTSD and all that. The next one, though, is one I am very excited about because Neurodeck by Tarvox Games and Goblins Studio sounds super rad. It's a deck-building card battler that's all about psychological challenges and fears. You answer questions about yourself and take some surveys and such, and then you battle your fears in a cartoony art style that reminds me of a spooky version of Dicey Dungeons. Your sanity is your health, and you seek out places to meditate and chill out to recover. It launched for $9.57 and looks very interesting, especially because it includes procedurally generated levels, roguelike mechanics, and RPG elements. And then we've got a couple of games that I can't decide if they should go in the lineup or the no-no pile. The first of which shares a name with the aftermath of Taco Tuesday, and that is Dumpy and Bumpy. It's an 8-bit puzzle game with a variety of challenges that is published by Screenwave Media and developed by the nefarious-sounding Programmancer. If you've yet to have a Dumpy and Bumpy this week, you can get your fix for $4.99. And the team at Batfields looked at Dead Space and said,
"Hey, let's make that, but, a straight-up shooter."
And then apparently they did it again because Dead Effect 2 launched for $19.99. The visuals in the screenshots look a little too good for me to think this runs well on the Switch, but maybe we'll be surprised. And finally, the games we missed last week, but didn't really miss last week, include Poker, Texas, and Omaha Hold'em by Cool Small Games, which, as you all know, means it is anything but. And Prison Games, as usual, swoops in to steal the shovelware crown with Marionette Games' All-In Casino Girls, which is, and I kid you not, a slot machine game where your reward is seeing drawings of women in lingerie. Doesn't even matter how much this one costs because you shouldn't buy it under any circumstances. None. But those are the games we missed from last week, and the new releases get started this week with a contender for Game of the Year. So tell me down in the comments if any of these Neglected Nindies tickled your fancy, and let's dive right in to the 19 new releases hitting the Nintendo Switch through Sunday, November 28th. We're going to kick off this week with what has to be the pick of the week, as Death's Door releases on November 23rd and is one of the highest rated games of the year. Releasing a couple of months ago on PC and Xbox, though not via Game Pass, Death's Door is the next game by the two-person team Acid Nerve, who last developed Titan Souls way back in 2015. Now they've got the backing of Devolver Digital, and with one look at the visuals, boy does it show. The premise is so great, get this. You play as a crow responsible for reaping souls of the dead. But someone has stolen one of the souls you're after and taken it into the realm untouched by death. It's up to you to wander through this isometric world, solve puzzles, do battle, and primarily come face to face with the bosses blocking your path who have turned into monsters while living in the world of the undead. Everyone seems to love this game, and honestly, outside of what I just shared, I don't know too much else about it. I've been trying to go in blind. That's why I'm planning to pick it up for $19.99 and check it out on stream, probably on the day this video releases, so stay tuned for announcements on YouTube, Discord, and Twitter for this week's Nindies at Night if you want to check it out with me from the beginning. The other game releasing that day is My Universe Puppies and Kittens by Microids for $30, because this is definitely worth 50% more than Death's Door. And then on November 24th, we've got another pair of titles releasing, the first of which is Drizzlepath Deja Vu for $6.99. The developer, apologies in advance, Tongguk Bodur, has released over a dozen relaxing walking simulators, with Deja Vu being a remake of his very first title. It's simple, it's relaxing, and it looks very pretty if you're in the mood to walk around and ponder the meaning of life. Indie publisher and developer Ripstone has released a few games for the Switch, like Stick It to the Man and Big Sky Infinity, and this week they release Poker Club for $19.79. You know I'm not a big fan of these kind of games on the Switch, but that's usually because they're shovelware, and that certainly doesn't seem to be the case here. It very much seems to be aimed at the, quote, hardcore poker fans who like to watch the pomp and circumstance you'd find on TV shows like World Series of Poker. If you fall into that category, this might be worth checking out. On Thursday, November 25th, we observe Thanksgiving here in the US, and there's 8 indies hitting the eShop, of which most of you should find at least one to be thankful for. Over the course of Nindie Nation, we've covered a lot of junk indie publishers, one of which,
Playism!
seems to actually embrace and even celebrate their focus on games that are, well, stupid. And this week, they bring the Piece de Resistance for stupid indies with
Deer Simulator!
your average everyday deer game for $19.99. I don't know what to tell you about this game. It takes ideas like you'd find in Octodad or Goat Simulator and just goes even crazier. You've got a stretchy neck, a bunch of guns, the deer can turn into a motorcycle. I mean, I'm not telling you to buy it, but when this thing goes on sale, the latest ridiculous indie by Gibbier Games might be fun for a quick, stupid romp. And a recent trend on the eShop that I have been a huge fan of is the resurgence of publishers re-releasing classic, previously Japan-only shoot-em-ups. And that's exactly what the team at Livewire has with Dandanpachi Resurrection, which drops for $19.99. This is a beloved yet pretty classic bullet hell shmup, so it's only going to appeal to big fans of the genre, but it comes with a bevy of new features and modes for those experienced and newcomers alike. And oddly enough, combining both of those last games, we've got a game by Nindie newcomer Boulder Games, which is both a side-scrolling shoot-em-up as well as a completely ridiculous indie. RoboShark Rampage sees you playing as a, well, robotic shark, and you're outfitted with all kinds of firepower as you swim through all kinds of side-scrolling shooter stages, finding upgrades, dodging obstacles, and blowing up everything in sight. Launching for just $3.49, the price seems right, too. It's been a while since we've seen a release from the mediocre at best publisher
Turnox!
but this week's release, developed by Game Dynasty, seems like one of their best yet. Shiro is a side-scrolling adventure platformer that takes inspiration from all across the genre, featuring a ninja who looks like Little Red Riding Hood. There seems to be a good balance of combat and platforming puzzles, and for $5, it certainly seems like it's worth taking a look at. Next up, Maze Theory releases a first-person adventure based on the Doctor Who license with Doctor Who: The Edge of Reality for $24.99. This is a port of the previously VR-only title and centers around the 13th and 10th Doctor solving a mystery together. I don't watch the show, but I hear which doctor is who is important to Doctor Who, but I can't tell you much more than that. My guess is that if this game is for you, you've probably already made up your mind. Microids brings yet another entry in the Asterix and Obelix series that is pretty much unheard of here in the States, but has international notoriety everywhere else. Kinda like Marmite. Asterix and Obelix, Slap Them All, delivers that gorgeous hand-drawn art style in a side-scrolling beat-em-up game that looks really, really fun. It looks like a pretty faithful entry in the genre and is probably a good time for 2 players. It's $30 though, so probably too pricey for most, but throw it on your wishlist and maybe we'll check it out on sale later if it reviews well. We've had a great list so far this week, but there are a couple of games that seem iffy at best. Eclipse Games claims to have
the game to satiate your Sudoku appetites,
with number 1 Sudoku for $3.99. So there's that. And the team at Playstige Interactive, an assumed division of
Prestige Worldwide,
has Puzzle Frenzy for $4.99. It's, a lot of generic puzzle games with a lot of generic artwork. And then Asylum Square Interactive seems to have let one of their creations escape the asylum because for some reason they published Farm Quest for $8.49. It's one of those find the hidden object games that's meant for toddlers and can be found for free in hundreds of forms on any device with a touchscreen. I can only assume the gameplay is similar to me hunting through the eShop every week looking for good games hidden amongst garbage like this. After you've had your turkey, you've hung out with friends or family, and passed out on the couch, on November 26th, you can wake up, prepare some leftovers, and check out 6 more games releasing on the eShop, which will compete with over 1,000 games that will be on sale the very same day. Good luck, new release indies. Don't know why you'd do that to yourself. Little Bug is an interesting little adventure platformer that comes to us by Buddy System and Red Deer Games for $12.99. It features a young girl named Naya. It features a young girl named Nya. Let's try that again. It features a young girl named... What the f*** do I say? It features a young girl named Nya. It features a young girl named Naya and her little spirit friend as they try to find their way home through a somewhat dark fantasy world. I like the premise and its unique approach to storytelling as you make your way through the stages, but there's a surprising lack of content available for the game, which always gives me pause. Let's put this one in the maybe pile as we wait for some impressions and reviews. Cabin Fever is a light-hearted romantic visual novel developed by Steamy Buns and Sad Panda Studios. How could you be a sad panda when you've got steamy buns? The setup is that you, a tech-savvy loner, is in a secluded cabin working away on your next project when on a dark and stormy night, some unknown scantily clad anime girl shows up at your door. Then I guess you talk? And things happen, then maybe you take a trip down to Bonetown together. It's $10. But if you prefer your romantic visual novels to be a little less about young girls trapped in a man's cabin in the woods, how about 3 girls and 1 boy on a secluded island paradise? How's that for variety? If that sounds good, then check out Starlight Shores by Penguin Pop Games for $11.99. Radaleka's release this week is Nightlights, a puzzle platformer developed by M4 for $4.99. With a cool style focused on light and dark, you solve puzzles as a little robot by shining light on things. It looks pretty neat. I really like the art direction with this one. And for something completely different, we've got Real Boxing 2 by Cubic Games for $14.99. I was gonna put this in the no-no pile, but the more I learned about it, the more it seems like it's an indie version of the beloved Fight Night series. Anyone ever played those? I love the 3rd one, and I have no knowledge or interest in boxing. Hard to tell if this one's gonna be any good, and I assume it'll probably receive mediocre scores across the board, and the price is too high. But Cubic is known for deeply discounting their games, so I might check it out when it's on sale for, a couple of bucks. And finally this week, Way Down Deep and Serenity Forge publish a bowling game with a twist as Date Night Bowling combines great pixel art, arcade-style bowling, and a dating simulator into one attractive title for $8.49. Not only do you talk with potential romance interests in between games of bowling, but you actually have to keep them happy and entertained throughout the games as well. It's a unique approach for sure, and it could be fun for those of you who like this genre of, I guess, simple gameplay mechanic meets dating simulator. There's a lot of those. It's hard to suggest anything more than Death's Door, so let me know if you're picking that one up, but we've also got promising niche titles with Poker Club, Don Don Pachi, and RoboShark Rampage, and of course the downright ridiculous
Deer Simulator.
So there's a little bit of everything this week. Tell me down in the comments if you'd like to see any of these that we've covered today on Nindies at Night. Unfortunately, the big Black Friday deals didn't go live last week as we had anticipated, but there is some silver lining here. Not only are most of the best indies still sitting at their list price, leading us to believe the big sale is still coming, but we've also got 3 publishers who have put most of their catalog on deep discount, and I think that's a great place for us to focus this week. These are 8 of the best indie deals currently on sale through at least December 1st. Lilymo Games, co-owned by Colin Moriarty, who is known from his time at IGN, Kinda Funny, and now Last Stand Media, has 3 of their games on sale, which include Habroxia 1 and 2, both of which are fantastic side-scrolling shooters, with the first being 60% off for $3.19, and the recent sequel 30% off for $6.99. The original is a bit rough around the edges, but the sequel is excellent, especially if this is a genre you don't play too often. It's easy to pick up, it brings with it a ton of replay value, and it includes RPG mechanics that allow you to make the game as easy or as hard as you want. Definitely consider Habroxia 2 this week. They also discounted Twinbreaker, a Sacred Symbols adventure, which is, for all intents and purposes, Breakout on crack. For $3.99, 60% off, Twinbreaker is a great addition to your Switch library if you enjoy this style of arcade game, as it both appeases traditional fans of the source material, while also injecting some new ideas into the mix. Similarly, Bertel Horberg of Horberg Productions also discounted a bunch of his games, and we checked them all out during a Nindies at Night last year if you want to see more. Gunman Clive HD Collection is a Western-themed Mega Man-style platformer that includes 2 games that are both about an hour long, but both quite replayable. As you can see, they have a beautifully unique art style, and with a 60% discount, $1.99 for both of these games is a great deal. Super Punch Patrol is probably my least favorite of his releases, but it's still a great, albeit very traditional beat-em-up that features the same awesome art style as Gunman Clive. It may not be worth the full asking price, but when it's also just $1.99, I think you can easily get your money's worth out of it. My favorite of Bertel's games, though, is Mechstermination Force, which is a game that is very hard to explain. It's a 2D action game where you're a little dude that has to take down gigantic mechs. It's part puzzle solving as you identify the various weak points, and part action shooter as you destroy said weak points. At 83% off, it's the best price we've seen yet for Mechstermination Force, and at $1.99 is a title I recommend to just about anyone. And lastly, Forever Entertainment also has a bunch of games on sale, but the 2 I recommend most are Binary Star Infinity and Tawaga Among Shadows. If you like old-school 2D shoot-em-ups, we've covered a lot in this week's episode, but especially if you have a new OLED Switch, Binary Star Infinity is a great one to pick up just to show off the Switch's OLED screen, especially while it's half off for $2.49. And then a game that made my top 20 of 2020 is Tawaga Among Shadows, a mostly twin-stick shooter that looks amazing on the Switch, and I had a lot of fun with. It might not be for everyone, so if you want to try it out first, there's a demo available on your smartphone. Tawaga rounds out this episode's deals with an 85% discount for $2.24. Picking any of these up, or are you waiting for the big Black Friday sale? All of these games will still be available when the sale drops, so if you're on the fence, save your digital dollars and wait until there's more to pick from. Otherwise, that's it for this week. As I said earlier, we'll be doing a Death's Door stream for Nindies at Night later this week, and while I think that might happen on Tuesday the 23rd, stay tuned to Nindie Nation on Twitter, Discord, or the YouTube community tab to be sure. We'll have our usual episode next week, but keep your eyes peeled for a Black Friday deals video probably a day or two after the sale goes live. If you want to chat about the deals in the meantime, come hang out with us on Discord. We would love to have you. Thanks so much for stopping by this week. Please be sure to like the video to help us grow, and subscribe if you want to see more Nindie gaming goodness. Until next week, citizens, I'm Jeff. This has been Nindie Nation episode 126. And remember, no matter what type of game you're looking for, Nindie Nation will be right here to help you find just the thing to keep your Joy-Cons synced.